Hi, it's Lindsay. Welcome back to The Wandering Reader. Today I'm going to be doing my April book haul. I've got 17 books to show you this month, and I have just a tad bit of a problem, but there are reasons for most of them. So anyway, without further ado, let's just jump into which books I bought this month. So the first lot of books I've got to show you are all books that are shortlisted for the Bailey's Prize. The shortlist was announced right at the beginning of April, and when I got back from New York I decided that I wanted to read all of the Bailey shortlist, so therefore I needed to go out and get them. So I went to Waterstones and I picked them up. So what we've got on the shortlist is First Love by Gwendolyn Riley, Do Not Say We Have Nothing by Madeline Thine. They're stuck together. Stay With Me by Oyabami Adebayo. The Dark Circle by Linda Grant. The Power by Naomi Alderman. And The Sport of Kings by C.E. Morgan. I mentioned in my spring reading tag that I would be reading the shortlist and then reviewing each one individually on my channel, which I plan on doing. I have actually read the first one out of the 6, and that is First Love by Gwendolyn Riley. So you should see a review go up of that on my channel pretty soon. But yeah, so I've got the other 5 to go. The winner is announced at some point in June, so therefore I've got the rest, I've got May basically to make sure I've read the other 5 books, which I think is doable because I normally read at least 5 books a month. So if I prioritise these ones, then I think I can definitely do those, fingers crossed. And then while I was in Waterstones on that same trip to get the Bailey shortlist books, I picked up a couple of books that were part of the buy one get one half price that they have kind of going on at the front. These are a few that I've been wanting to read for a while. Oh, actually there's 2 here. And the first one is Everything Everything by Nicola Yoon. People have talked about this on BookTube so much. And of course the movie is coming out of this pretty quickly, I think, within the next couple of months. So as you can see, I've started this. I'm reading this on Saturday, which is the day of the Dewey's 24-hour readathon. And I wasn't particularly thinking that I would participate. And then I finished a book this morning, First Love actually, and decided that I wanted to read this and that it would be a pretty quick read, so I might read it for the 24-hour readathon. And that's exactly what I'm doing. So I'm about halfway through this at the moment. I'm really liking it. It's such an easy book to read. It's a really cute contemporary story, and I'm really enjoying it so far. And then the other book I picked up in Waterstones as part of that buy one get one half price offer is The Girl with the Lower Back Tattoo by Amy Schumer. I have had this on my Amazon wish list for quite some time, and it just came out in paperback, so as part of that deal. So I thought, well, I've had it on my wish list for a while, I'll give it a go. I don't really know a hell of a lot about it, but people have talked about it as being quite a funny read. So, you know, when I'm in the mood for something a little bit more light-hearted and something that will make me laugh, then I will be picking this up. And then on that same day, I popped into a charity bookshop. It sells books, CDs, DVDs and vinyls, I think. And I don't usually go in there an awful lot just because some of the books can be, even for a charity shop, I think they're a little bit overpriced. But I just was having a browse in there and I saw a copy of In a Dark Wood by Ruth Ware. Last month I read The Woman in Cabin 10, which is her second book. This is her first book, and they're actually making this into a film. So I saw it there. It was £3. It was a pretty decent copy of it, not much wrong with it really. So I thought I'd pick it up and then read her first thriller. I quite liked The Woman in Cabin 10. It was quite a good read, so I thought I'd pick that one up as well. The next book I've got to show you is the book that I picked up while I was out in New York. I've put a vlog of my time in New York up on my channel, which I'll link that down below if you haven't watched that yet. Please do. So I did a little bit of book shopping while I was out there, and I really wanted to get one particular book and I saw it and I got it. And that was The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. When I went over to the States, this had just been published in the UK. So it had been out in the States for a little while. The reason I wanted to pick it up in the States was because of this hardcover edition. I'd seen the UK paperback edition on Amazon, and I was kind of umming and ahhing about pre-ordering it. But to be honest, I much prefer the hardback edition, and for some reason I couldn't find the hardback edition being sold in the UK. And I just thought this, in my opinion, is a much nicer cover than the UK paperback edition. So I was desperate to pick it up while I was in the States, and I went into a Barnes and Noble, and I saw it and I picked it up. I've already read this, so I talk about it a little bit more in my April wrap up, and I've also done a review of this, which is up on my channel now, so you can go and check that out if you want to hear a few more of my thoughts. But it definitely lives up to the hype. Yeah, just absolutely fantastic. I bought a few other things while I was in New York as well. That was the only book that I bought, but I bought a few other things, so I didn't know whether you guys would be interested in me doing sort of like a New York haul, as it were. Let me know down below if you are. I know this is a channel that I've dedicated to books, but if seeing something like other things that I bought whilst on holiday would be of interest to you, then definitely let me know. Leave me a comment down below and let me know what your opinion is on that. And you know, if I get enough kind of positive comments, then I'll film that one. A book that I picked up recently in Sainsbury's was this book here, He Said, She Said by Erin Kelly. I'd heard a few people talk about this on BookTube, but not many people, I think because it's just been released. I saw this hardcover in Sainsbury's and it was £4.99 for this hardcover, which I thought was an absolutely fantastic price. So this is a psychological thriller, and it says on the front inside cover, he said it was consensual, the woman said nothing, but Laura saw it, didn't she? In the hushed aftermath of a total eclipse, Laura witnesses a brutal attack. She and her boyfriend Kit call the police, and in that moment, it is not only the victim's life that is changed forever. 15 years on, Laura and Kit live in fear. And while Laura knows she was right to speak out, the events that follow have taught her that you can never see the whole picture. Something and someone is always in the dark. So I do like a good psychological thriller, and it was a cheap price, so I thought I'd pick that one up at some point. I'll give that one a go. I also won a Goodreads giveaway this month, which I do every now and again. I do like a good competition, and I go on there every week or so and just have a look at what new books have popped up on their giveaway page. And I won one a couple of weeks ago, and it came through in the post last week, and that is a copy of Flame in the Mist by Renee Ahdieh. Renee Ahdieh wrote the Wrath and the Dawn duology, which I haven't read. This is a proof copy of it, and I believe it's a retelling of Disney's Mulan. So it says on the back, she's barely 17, but Hattori Mariko knows her place in life. She's been raised for one purpose, to marry the son of the Emperor's favourite concubine. But en route to the wedding, her litter is ambushed by the Black Clan. Now Mariko has two choices. She can wait to be rescued or face her enemies. She's done waiting. So this comes out on the 18th of May, so I really want to get to this quickly because I quite like to do a review of this on my channel just before it comes out. But we'll have to see with all of the Bailey's books I'm reading as well. Perhaps it'll be something that I pick up in between one of the Bailey's books just to give myself a bit of a palette cleanse, as it were. But I think that sounds really good. I've heard great things about Renee Ahdieh's other writing, like the Wrath and the Dawn duology. I've heard is very, very good. So I am looking forward to picking that up. And then the 5 other books that I've got here, ones that I picked up in a charity shop last week. Of course, you guys know that I love charity book shopping. If you can find some gems in there, then great. The first one that I picked up is a copy of The Rotters Club by Jonathan Coe. I read his book, oh my god, I can't remember the title of it now. Oh my god, that's dreadful. It's right behind me as well. It's called What a Carve Up. And the reason that's dreadful is because whenever anybody asks me what's your favourite book, that's a really hard question to ask somebody who loves books. But if they do ask me, a lot of the time I will say What a Carve Up by Jonathan Coe. That's a satirical novel kind of focusing on the 1980s and people that are in power and politics, and you know, how nothing is as it seems. And that was the first satirical novel that I'd ever read. I read it in university and I was just blown away by it. I don't know if I'd feel the same way about it now, because obviously that was about more than 10 years ago now. But I'd heard that the other one of his famous novels is The Rotters Club. And this is also one of the books that I could have chosen to teach my year 12s at A-level, but didn't in the end. And this is about growing up and coming of age in the 1970s. Set against the backdrop of the decade's class struggles, tragic and riotous by turns, packed with thwarted romance and furtive sex. The Rotters Club is for anyone who ever experienced adolescence the hard way. So I don't think I could really describe my adolescence as hard, but like I said, I really like Jonathan Coe's other book, so I picked myself up a copy of that. The next one I've got here is John Green's Paper Towns. I read The Fault in Our Stars a couple of years ago now, 2 or 3 years ago. Really liked it, but I've never picked anything else up by him. So I'm sure you know what this is about already, but I'm just going to read you the back. Quentin Jacobson has spent a lifetime loving the magnificent, adventurous Margot Roth Spiegelman from afar. So when she opens his bedroom window late one night and summons him to join her on an ingenious campaign of revenge, he follows. After their all-nighter ends and a new day breaks, Q arrives at school to find that Margot has not. Always an enigma, she now becomes a mystery, and Q soon learns that there are clues to be followed in his search for Margot. So yeah, I really like The Fault in Our Stars. They've made this into a film, I think, as well. It's got Cara Delevingne in it, hasn't it? I think so. So I'll pick myself up that, you know, I'll read it at some point. Then I found another Sarah Waters book this month. I've hauled one every month for the past 3 months now, but again in a charity shop I found a copy of Affinity by her. And this has got like a really sort of spooky cover, perhaps a bit more gothic and dark than some of her other books. This says on the back, from the dark heart of Victorian prison, disgraced spiritualist Selina Dawes weaves an enigmatic spell. Is she a fraud or a prodigy? Can Margaret Pryor trust her? Or is Margaret herself a hysteric, an addict, or a visionary with powers of her own? By the time it all begins to matter, you'll find yourself desperately wanting to believe in magic too. I quite like the fact that it says that it's set in a prison. That intrigues me a lot. Yeah, and again, it's another Sarah Waters book. It says at the bottom, there's a quote from The Guardian: sexy, spooky, stylish, a wonderful book. I love the fact that those 3 adjectives are together: sexy, spooky and stylish. Okay. Then I've got here Joanne Harris's 5/4 of an Orange. I used to own this book and I read it a good while ago now, again more than 10 years ago, and I remember really loving it, but I got rid of it for some reason, and I've read a couple of other of her books and I just saw it and I thought, oh, wouldn't it be nice to have a copy of that again and perhaps reread it at some time. I really like Joanne Harris's writing. Her writing is just so evocative, you know, when it comes to describing food and describing settings and describing characters. It's just very evocative and vivid and beautiful. So yeah, I thought I'd pick up another copy of that. Again, like I said, I might reread it at some point. Lastly, this is another book that I've had on my wish list for a little while, and that is Barack Obama's Dreams from My Father. This is his autobiography. Not sure how long ago it was published. Let's have a little look. So this says 1995, first published in 1995. So before he became President of the United States. But as his presidency was coming to an end, I became more and more fascinated with him and his wife Michelle, just about their lives and about their approach to life and things like that. So yeah, I've had this on my wish list for a few months now, and I saw it in a charity shop and I was like, wow, that's absolutely incredible. I'll buy that and then at some point get around to reading it as one of my non-fiction reads of the year. But yeah, I believe, so this says on the back, before Barack Obama became a politician, he was, among other things, a writer. Dreams from My Father is his masterpiece, a refreshing, revealing portrait of a young man asking the big questions about identity and belonging. The son of a black African father and a white American mother, Obama recounts an emotional odyssey. He retraces the migration of his mother's family, from Kansas to Hawaii, then to his childhood home in Indonesia. Finally, he travels to Kenya, where he confronts the bitter truth of his father's life and at last reconciles his divided inheritance. So he sounds like he's had an absolutely fascinating upbringing, and his heritage is going to be fascinating to read about. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to giving that one a go as well. So there you go, guys. They were all of the books that I picked up in April. I've really kind of got to curb it a little bit. I've been thinking recently about my big TBR, and I know I've said before that it doesn't bother me that I've got over 200 books on there, but in some ways it does niggle at me every now and again. So I don't know, like I said before, I'm not going to put myself on a book buying ban, but maybe I'll try to be a bit less crazy next month, because I would like to get through some of the books that I've bought recently. I've picked and read some of them, but not others, so yeah, and I get really excited about them when I first buy them and then don't read them for ages. So anyway, that's it, guys. Leave me a comment down below. Have you read any of these books? What are your thoughts on them? What books did you pick up in April? I'd love to have a chat with you in the comments. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.